In the busy streets of Calcutta, where people moved quickly and life never stopped, a small woman in a simple white sari with blue borders walked with quiet kindness. She was Mother Teresa, a woman whose heart was filled with love for the poor and the suffering. Mother Teresa was born as Angees Bojaxiu in 1910 in Skopje, a small town in what is now North Macedonia. From a young age, she felt a deep desire to serve others. She grew up in a loving family, but when she was just 8 years old, her father passed away. This loss made her stronger and helped shape her compassionate heart. By the time she was 12, she knew she wanted to dedicate her life to God. At 18, she left her home to join the Sisters of Loreto in Ireland. It was a difficult decision, leaving behind her mother, her brother, and everything she knew, but her faith guided her. After training in Ireland, she traveled to India, where she became a teacher at St. Mary's School in Calcutta. She loved teaching, but she could not ignore the world outside the school walls. Every day, she saw people suffering on the streets. She saw children without food, sick people with no one to care for them, and elderly people left alone to die. She felt a deep pain in her heart and knew she had to do more. One day, while walking through the city, she saw an old man lying on the side of the road. His body was weak, his skin covered in sores, and his eyes filled with sadness. People walked past him, pretending not to see, but Mother Teresa saw him. She knelt beside him, held his hand, and whispered words of comfort. That moment changed everything. She realized that her mission was not just to teach, but to serve the poorest of the poor. She asked for permission to leave the convent and work directly with the people on the streets. With no money but a heart full of faith, she stepped into the unknown. She started by picking up people who were dying alone on the roads and giving them a place to die with dignity. She cleaned their wounds, fed them, and, most importantly, showed them love. Soon, other women joined her. Together, they formed the Missionaries of Charity, an organization dedicated to serving the sick, the hungry, and the homeless. They wore simple white saris with blue borders, just like Mother Teresa, as a symbol of humility and service. They opened homes for the dying, orphanages for abandoned children, and clinics for the sick. Wherever there was suffering, they brought hope. One day, in the middle of the monsoon season, Mother Teresa found a small child shivering in the rain. His tiny hands were shaking, and he was too weak to cry. Without hesitation, she picked him up and carried him to their shelter. He was given food, warm clothes, and a place to sleep. As she watched him rest peacefully, she felt a deep sense of purpose. She knew she was exactly where she was meant to be. Her work soon spread beyond India. She traveled to places where people were suffering, from war zones to leper colonies. She comforted refugees, cared for people with AIDS, and provided food and shelter to those in need. The world began to recognize her incredible work, and she received many awards, including the Nobel Peace Prize. But she remained humble. When asked how people could help, she would simply say, "Find someone who feels unloved and love them." As years passed, her body grew weak, but her spirit remained strong. Even when she was sick, she continued to serve, never thinking of herself. On September 5th, 1997, she took her last breath. Her passing was a great loss, but her mission did not end. The missionaries of charity continued her work, and her message of love lived on. Today, in the same streets where she once walked, where suffering still exists but hope remains, Mother Teresa's whisper can still be heard, a quiet yet powerful call to kindness. She showed the world that even the smallest act of love can change a life. And in a world that often forgets the forgotten, her light continues to shine.